spending the money to come here and do this. This is really heartwarming, and you guys are taking a good step in learning. Intellectual property is very important. I guarantee you're going to leave here with something informative and something intellectual, okay? So the word of the day today is why, all right? Go to the next slide. But before I get into the word why, I'm going to ask you, what is your why? Why are you here today? Write down your short-term goals and your life-term goals right now. And at the end of the presentation, write down what your goals is after the presentation and what you plan on doing moving forward, okay? Keep all this to yourself. Disclaimer, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? I'm not here to teach you how to get rich, okay? This is not anything I'm teaching here is just based off my life experiences as a businessman, and this is basically information that I've experienced and that I want to share with you today that works for me, okay? Doing real estate investing, okay, you may lose money, you may lose your shirt doing this type of business. Just want to point that out, okay? Even if you're careful, you can still lose money in real estate, all right? I'm not an attorney, and the information I'm providing you today is just from my life experiences, okay? So everyone understands that, right? So we'll move forward. So the learning objectives here, okay, at the end of this seminar, you're going to have the basic intellectual property to start real estate investing. This information you're going to learn is going to help you efficiently get into the real estate game investment-wise. This is not a first-time home buyer's course, so get that out of your head. I'm not going to teach you how to be a first-time home buyer. This is strictly how to get into the real estate investment game. I want to show you different avenues to invest in real estate. Okay? Go ahead. And you'll also gain access to our network as well after the fact. So, all right, this is my resume. This is my life story. I just want to share this with you guys. I went to Madison Park High School in Roxbury. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Communication from University of Massachusetts, Amherst. Master of Science in Public Administration from UMass Boston. I've been 20 years as a broker, principal 777 Real Estate. 23 years investing in real estate, and 16 years as a licensed real estate instructor. So anyone wants to get a real estate license, you can reach out to me. I do the courses as well. So, and I'm part of the Economic Development Commission in the town I live in, town of Canton, Mass. So this is just a brief synopsis of my life. So, what is real estate investing? Real estate investment is a financial strategy that uses management, ownership, purchase, rentals, or sale of property for profit. There's several ways to invest in real estate. You got short-term, where you fix and flip, wholesaling. It's more detailed than that. You got long-term, buy and hold, and have rental property. We're going to discuss all this and break it down. How do you find the deals? Because basically, when you get into real estate, the first priority is to find the deals, right? Where do you find the deals? Okay? First and foremost, if you guys have a realtor, stick with one realtor. But when you find that realtor, make sure that realtor has experience in investing, not just first-time home buyership. So you have to pick and choose which realtor you're going to deal with. Not because he's your cousin or just got his license, you want to help them out, and this person is related to your husband or wife, or so on and so forth. No. You find a realtor or broker or what have you that is in the game of real estate investing. When you find that guy or that gal, you stick with that person 100%, and I'll tell you why. Basically, when you stick with that one realtor, they find you a flip deal or a good investment property, all right, and you give it right back to them to list. Guess what happens after that? They'll call you every single time first when they have a deal. I guarantee you. That's how it works in the real estate industry. So a lot of people, they say, I can't find a property, I can't this, I can't that. I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you're flipping around with 5 or 6 realtors. That's why you can't find a property. And that's why you can't find a deal, okay? So whatever realtor you're dealing with, and make sure they have experience. Find out how many flip properties they deal with on a yearly basis, how many properties they sold, how many clients they have. You got to research. You got to interview your realtor. You can't just pick them up because they have a license, okay? So, and you stick with that person, thick and thin. I guarantee you, you'll find a deal that way, all right? Foreclosures, short sales, probate and family court, I love that one. That's my favorite place to find deals. Just walk into probate family court. Just walk right in and say, I want a list of the divorce people who are getting divorced. All right? Just go into court. It's public information. You can get the list. I need a list of people. And go to every court in every town. So pick like 5 or 6 towns. All right? Brockton, of course, there's a lot of divorces in Brockton. So, neighboring towns, Abington, whatever. But you pick towns that are basically, how should I say it, towns that have, a lot of deals that you think they have a lot of. So you research a town, basically. What towns are trendy? Brockton's very trendy. Okay, Easton's very trendy. Boston's very trendy, even though it's high price, you can still find deals there. So find a trendy town, go to that courthouse, and get the list of the probate court, and get the list of people. They have to give it to you. It's public information by law. So, and then we got building department violations. Go in the building department, public information. I need a list of all the properties in Brockton that have building code violations. They have to give you the list. It's public information. Housing court, that's my favorite one too. Housing court, Wednesdays in Brockton when they were open, Wednesdays, just pop in there. You see a lot of pissed off landlords, very pissed off landlords. Go up to them. Hey, buddy, don't say I want to buy your house, but just have a conversation, and I guarantee it's going to lead towards buying a house. But you have to take time to do this. Like I said, first one in, last one out. You can't half-ass this business and expect to invest in real. You got to have to take the time or pay someone to take the time to do this legwork. It's a lot of legwork and grunt work. Okay, you guys know the ice cube analogy with the ice cubes in the ocean, but then a quarter of the ice cube's out. You just see the nice, beautiful ice cube, but you don't see the big ice cube in the ocean. That's real estate investing. All that grunt work comes out to something beautiful to the public, but they don't see all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Okay. And this is all public information. You have to you go to housing court and get the list of eviction people. And it's right there on the wall. Just screenshot it of who's getting evicted and what address. Okay? Basically, word of mouth, ears to the streets. Talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. Always talk about real estate. When I go to a baby shower, a function, wherever it may be, I always talk about real estate. I'll go to a wedding. It's business. It's a business venture. It's not a wedding for me. I'll say hi to the bride and groom, and I'm at the bar buying people shots, drinks, and I'm trying to get listings here. This is opportunity. There's 300 people in this bad boy. Someone has a listing here. I'm buying a house from someone here. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, use sphere of influence, family events, big events, just to network. This is the first one in, last one out philosophy. Okay? Tax lien certificates and tax deeds. In Massachusetts, they just have tax deeds. Tax lien certificates, they do it in Rhode Island a lot. In Texas, in Florida, and other places. You just have to research what states do tax lien certificates. So what tax lien certificates are, so you're behind on your taxes, for example, right? So the city has to collect some way, somehow. So some states, what they do is, I could walk into a city hall and say, give me all the delinquent taxes, and you pay those off. And the city gives you a tax lien certificate, okay? That's like a CD account, a bond, okay? And there's a redemption period in which the owner has to redeem the property from you. He has to pay the city, and the city pays you your money back, okay? And after the redemption period, if they don't follow through, okay, you can foreclose on that property, even if the property has a loan, okay? So if you owe taxes on a property, taxes supersedes mortgages. So let's say, for example, the person owes $500,000 on the property, but owes $50,000 in back taxes, right? So you can go in after the tax lien redemption period is over and foreclose on that person, and you have zero mortgage. You don't have to assume their mortgage. So that title is clear. You follow me? Because taxes supersede mortgages. All right, and tax deeds are basically the same idea, but the town, they basically auction off, okay, the tax deeds. They don't sell the certificates. But I know Rhode Island does tax lien certificates, so take it right down to Rhode Island and do tax lien certificates and see how many you could purchase. Just try one. You could do this, taxes behind $1,500, $5,000. Just take $5,000 and try one out. All right? It's like a CD account, but it takes a long time. Okay? We got subscribe to websites like Realty Track, Bankers and Tradesmen. Why? Not because they're great websites, for information. Okay, just data, or rely on your one realtor to give you the data. If you have a good realtor, he can get you data. Okay, he or she can get you data. Finding homes on Zillow, I hate those websites. Zillow, Trulia, you're wasting your freaking time on those websites. You're wasting your time. I don't even look at, like a client would tell me, oh, Zillow says this. Well, I have the MLS. What's on the MLS gets there before Zillow gets it. Because MLS feeds Zillow and everything else. They're a third-party site. Don't waste your time looking on Zillow for foreclosures or deals. You're not going to find it. It's a scam for realtors to get lead capture. They capture you and they call you every 5 minutes and so on and so forth. Like I said, work with one realtor. I already got into that. Never shortchange your realtor. If that realtor gives you a deal, he probably just made 2% on it, 2.5%. But once you turn the property around, okay, give it to him at 6 or 7%. I guarantee you, 6 or 7% commission to sell your house. I'm telling you, this is how it works in this business. It goes where everyone has to eat. So when you give your property back to a realtor that gave you that deal, sell it, have him sell it or her sell it, 6% commission, 7% commission. You're still making money. So don't shortchange your realtor. When you do that, I guarantee you 100% of the time, when that person has another deal, another flip, or another rental property, who's he going to call first, or who's she going to call first? You follow me? So we're going to talk about short sales right now. So basically, short sales is buying a property for less than what the property is owed. So for example, if the person's underwater, which means they owe less than what the property's worth, they owe more than what the property's worth, I'm sorry. So you go to that person and you buy the property, okay? Then you negotiate with the bank to sell it for less. It's like a settlement on a credit card, okay? So when you have a credit card, it goes to collections, okay? You call them up and say, sir, credit card company, or madam, credit card company, I owe $5,000, but I'll give you $2,000 right now to settle this. Same thing with a short sale. It's the same idea. Okay, you could do that with real estate. All right? How do you find these short sales? Same thing with the housing court. I just explained to you where you get these deals. All right? And I'm going to show you later on how to compile the data and what to do with the data and how you reach out to these people different ways. All right? Okay, a lot of folks pass away, and the family, 100% of the time, they want to dump the property for cash. They don't want to keep their parents' property sometimes. Go into family court, probate court, and get the list. Bankruptcy court. Walk into bankruptcy court. All right? This is a good one as well, good resource. Because this is how you get short sales. Okay? People in bankruptcy, you call them up. Hey, sir, just cancel the bankruptcy. I'll buy this property for you. Okay? And it's better for them because it's just going to hurt their credit for 3 years. Then you go to author to get it fixed. Okay? So in bankruptcy, you're stuck for 7 years. So if you know someone that's in bankruptcy and they own a couple of properties, you could save them. Okay, and you stop the bankruptcy right away. You find a short sale specialist. Don't try to do it yourself because you're going to screw it up. But you find someone that specializes in short sale litigation, like an attorney. Sometimes they have these companies like United Title. United Title is a short sale company. They have their attorneys that do it. And go through a realtor. Once you find a short sale, get a realtor to facilitate the short sale. You're not paying the realtor. The bank that is losing the money will pay the realtor. Okay, so for example, the bank will give the realtor 6% or 7% on the short sale that you're trying to buy. All right? And then the short sale company gets 1% of the 6%. Okay? So it costs you nothing to hire a realtor to do your short sale. All right? You just have to buy it regular, down payment and so on and so forth. And we're going to talk about how to get down payments later. So once you compile all this information, all this data. You're going to have thousands of names and addresses and phone numbers possibly, and emails possibly, but it's just most of the time it's names and address of where they live, not the property. So what you do is you handwrite a letter in color, all right, just like that, all right? So what I do is this: dear neighbor, I'm looking to purchase a property in your area. Okay, you guys can write the same thing. You guys can copy this. Okay, want to buy your property for cash. I can close in less than 15 days at your earliest convenience. Please call me, blah, 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 blah. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Plain and simple. This is how you do it. In color, and you print color copies so it looks like it's handwritten. Then you get an envelope. After you get the names, you write all the names, even if it's 1,000. This is why you have to be first one in, last one out. It's grunt work. So what I do, I hire a high school person, give them a couple of bucks, just to compile the data and do envelopes. You have to spend money on this, on stamps, to send this out. So what I do is I send about 200 a week, okay? Sometimes if I have time, I'll do 300-400 a week, okay? Or I use a website called Quantum Digital, quantumdigital.com, okay? And they do exactly what, but I like doing it the old-fashioned way, okay? And this is what I do. This is more effective than typing up a nice fancy letter to the person's house. Because when you get a letter like this, you're going to look at it 3 times. When I send you a typed letter, you think it's marketing. You think it's advertisement. You're just going to throw it in the trash. When you get a handwritten letter, handwritten envelope, it looks like a cousin sending you a correspondence or something from Ohio or whatever. So you're going to look at it. You're going to open it because it's handwritten. All right? Now, when you're investing in properties, you got to think about entities. I'm not an attorney, so I'm just going to tell you how I do it, okay? But I would consult with an attorney as far as which entity fits you best, okay? I personally like using trust. The reason why is because you can use trust to own an LLC or a C Corp and so on and so forth. But when you're first starting out, you don't have to get into the trust game. Okay, when you start building, look into how trust works. Speak to your attorney, because I'm not going to get into how trust works. It's a legal matter. So, but the way I use trust, so for example, when I get an LLC, all right, I do what's called a blind trust or a nominee trust, and I call it George's Realty Trust. It owns 777 LLC. No one knows who's the owner unless they really dig. Follow me? So that's for asset protection. Because once you start getting into real estate, then the lawsuits start coming. I guarantee you. You start making the money, you get these frivolous lawsuits coming out of everywhere. And they come after you. And sometimes the insurance company, based on the litigation, they're not going to cover it. So this is how you protect your ass, excuse my language. Once you start getting knee deep into stuff, all right? I like trust. You guys can just do LLCs. Some people just do LLCs with their names. Sometimes you use a hard money lender, which we're going to get into, or a private lender. They want you to put your name as the guarantor of the trust. Some hard money lender of the LLC. Some lenders let you do the trust ownership of the LLC and make you the guarantor. As long as you're the guarantor, you can do whatever you want, okay? But speak to an attorney about which entity fits you best, okay? Benefits, you get tax benefits. You build credit with your business, which is important. So when you have a business for 2 years, now you can apply for business credit cards. When you get business credit cards, business lines of credit, it doesn't hit your credit report. It hits your business credit report. So it doesn't hurt your debt to income ratio, okay? So now you separate the things. Your real estate business investing, it's a business and has its own tax ID number, and your personal life, which has nothing to do with nothing. You follow me? So once you build a LLC, has its own tax ID, it's its own animal, its own creature. Now your lifestyle changes. You go out to eat, as long as you talk about business 30% of the time, it's a business dinner. Shoot, I go out with my wife, we're talking real estate. You know, it's a nice dinner. Well, I'm having that real estate conversation before we get into it. You know, just to justify my business transaction. And I use my business card at dinner to pay for that real estate business. Use the business card. All right? You're building business credit, and now you can apply for big and better things. You follow me? So, and it doesn't bang up your debt to income ratio on your personal side. Your whole lifestyle has to change. Okay? And then anything you buy it through the business. And it flushes, and it's a tax shield. You have write-offs. Okay? And the way it works is it flushes down, everything bam, 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 and you pay taxes on the leftovers. So, for example, your company makes $100,000 on the LLC, but you spent $95,000 on expenses, right? You only tax on $5,000. You pay taxes on $5,000, not the $100,000. Okay? I'll give you another example. Leveraging properties. When you buy a property, it's not good sometimes to sell it with a zero mortgage on it. Okay? You can get a property and don't pay cash. You follow me? Use a hard money lender if needed, or a lender or whatever, okay? And then you just leverage that property. It's a tax shield. And then use the draws from the hard money lender to bring up to kill the equity. Because you're gonna pay taxes on your equity. So might as well wipe out the equity and pay tax on whatever's left over when you sell the property. Okay, how do I finance deals? Okay, there's different ways. If you're a first-time home buyer and you want to get into, real estate, 3.5% down, minimum 620 credit score, you get a 1 to 4 family on the property. You have to live in it, plus or minus. There's no time frame, but living in a 1 to 4 family on FHA loan, after a year, you can use the equity to jump into something bigger and better. Okay, that's one of the ways. But you have to live at the property on the FHA loan, all right? Leverage your current home. So with that FHA home loan, okay, after a year, it's gonna go up in value, okay? You can do various things with that equity. So you leverage it, you refinance, or a HELOC, which you're gonna talk about. HELOC is a home equity line of credit. Use the house as a credit card to buy another house, okay? It's called a HELOC. Private money, hard money, this is my favorite. I love hard money. Hard money is the best thing that ever happened to society, private money, okay? Everyone talks about, high interest rate, 10%, 12%. Interest is your friend. Interest is your friend, okay? Never squabble about interest. Like when I deal with clients, they're always crying about, 3.5%. My friend's getting 2.5%. Why don't I get 2.5? I'm getting 3.5. That's the worst discussion you want to have with a loan officer. You're only saving $3 over 30 years, that small amount. But when you invest in real estate, you can't focus on that. You got to focus on the bigger picture. So when a hard money lender says 12% or 10%, don't squawk. Just take it and run. It's easy money. No credit check. You get funded in 15 days. And that's how you say you're buying cash. So you put an offer, don't put a mortgage contingency. Just say it's a cash offer. Because a hard money guy is going to finance you in 15 days. And you're going to get that house over the FHA buyer because you're closing in 15 days. The FHA's got to come do this appraisal, this inspection, da-da-da. You're closing in 15 days with a hard money lender, or less, depending on the title work. I've seen hard money lenders close it in 5 days because the title's done. And it's a lot of equity. But the house has to have a lot of equity when you use hard money. I love hard money, okay? And if you know how to use it, it's a tool to get at, to generate generational wealth. Seller financing, mostly on commercial deals, commercial properties, mixed-use properties. You give the seller a decent down payment, all right? And you tell them, give me a 5-year note. I'll pay you 5% interest over 5 years, just interest only. Kind of like hard money, but the seller's giving you the money. It's a tax benefit to the seller to do seller financing because they don't pay the big capital gains at the end of the day, and they're lending you the money via their equity, okay? And therefore, you acquire the property, and what you do is, once you're in there for 6 months to a year, you refinance that property or do a HELOC on the property to pay the seller financing back off. He gets his money. You own the property without even purchasing it conventionally. Borrow from friends and family. I bought my first house I was 20 years old. My first house, 14 Banton Street in Dorchester. I just got out of college, and I saw this house, and basically, I put an offer on it. I got the bid. No money, no nothing. And I got the property. It was like $175. I'm jumping for joy, but at the same time, that night, I went home and slept. I said, what the heck did I just do? I had $1,000. I put the $1,000 deposit. So I was scratching my head. I had the mortgage pre-approval because there's a law that says with FHA loans, as long as you have a college degree, okay, you have a college degree and you have a job offer, you can qualify for an FHA loan. Okay, college degree and a job offer. Only thing is you have to show the first paycheck once you start the job to close. That's it. I had that qualification, but I didn't have the freaking down payment. Okay, I had I had 10 days to figure it out. So what did I do? I went to family and friends, borrowed the money. I borrowed the money. I told my uncles and aunts, I said, look, you give me $1,500, I'll pay you in 6 months. You pay me, I kept, till I added up the down payment, the 3.5% down. All right? I got the money because I promised them interest. I showed them my project. I showed them what I was trying to do. They believed in me. It's all about how you deliver your message, you deliver your requests. Okay? And I came with the down payment. That's how it all started. Took that house, sold it 8 months later for $450,000. I paid, believe me, the first people I paid back was the people that let me borrow the down payment. Okay? And that's how you do things with family and friends. If they're your friends, if they're your family, and they want to see you progress, they'll do it. Believe me, if they believe in you. That's just one avenue. I have other avenues to get the down payment we're going to get into. Okay? You got group funding. If you find a deal, don't walk away from the deal because you don't have the money. Find someone that has the money and partner up with them. She may have the down payment, but I have the deal. Okay? So let's work together and go 50-50 partnership. All right? And bam, we sell the house, we make profit. Now I got money to play with. I say, partners, peace out. See you later. Go do your thing. Okay, and now I'm ready to go by myself now. Now I could do other things because I have this profit on the first house that I partner up with this person, okay, to acquire property. So never walk away from a deal because you don't have the money. Never say I don't have the down payment. The down payment is somewhere in the United States, somewhere in the world. It's there. It's somewhere. Just have to think critically and creatively, okay? And gap funding. Anyone knows what gap funding is? No one? No one knows what gap funding is? It's hard money for down payments. So there's gap for you. Google gap funders on Google. All right, GAP, gap funders. You can borrow your down payment. It's like hard money, but they take a second position. Okay, or you can go to someone that has money to let you borrow down payment, like a family and friends, where you do a gap contract and it gets recorded at the registry of deeds. Okay, as the second position. Okay, but there's gap funders out there that'll fund you, but they're usually 25% interest. But hey, they'll give you the $50,000 you need down or $25,000 you need down, and so on and so forth. All right, how to leverage your home. HELOC. Okay, you can use a HELOC and home equity line of credit, it's called. All right, and some banks will give you up to 75% of the value on investment properties. Okay, not too many banks will do investment property HELOCs. The ones that I know is Webster Bank that I use a lot. TD Bank, they do HELOCs on investment property. Every other bank will do a HELOC, Citizens or whatever, but they do it on owner-occupied properties. So you can get an owner-occupied property that you live in and use that as leverage. Go to any bank and get a HELOC. All right, usually it's like, for example, you HELOC your house $100,000. Okay, it's a credit card. So you pay on what you borrow. So you have this open line of credit on your house for $100,000, but you need $20,000 for a down payment. So you just write a check, $20,000. Now you owe $20,000 extra in your house, not the 100. You still have $80,000 to play with, but you don't use it unless you buy another house. So what you do is you take that $20,000, use it as a down payment on another house. You leverage that house to leverage another house. Okay. Then you wait 6 months. Once you purchase that house has equity, and you put a HELOC on that. And you start HELOCing. Now all of a sudden you're playing with other people's money. You don't have to save for down payment anymore. You don't need down payments because you have down payments in your house. Home equity loans, it works as a HELOC, but it's a loan. I prefer HELOCs over home equity loans. Because home equity loans, you're making payments on something that you're not using yet. So for the $100,000, they lend you the $100,000 check. With the HELOC, they just get a credit line for the $100,000, and you're paying on what you use. So you have a $20,000 down payment. You're making interest-only payments just on the $20,000. Buy another house. Take that equity, pay off this HELOC, zero balance. You have this other house, and just keep jumping from house to house to house to house. All right? And you have to have a certain amount of credit level to do this. Build business credit, and then speak to Arthur if you don't have that credit score. Cash out refinance, everyone knows about that, but I prefer HELOC when you're doing this type of investment because it's quicker and faster. And there's no closing costs with HELOCs. Refinance, home equity loans, there's closing costs involved. With the HELOC, you just pay a $500 duty fee, application fee, and that's it. And then you go sign, and bam, they record it on your property. There's no closing costs, so you save right there. The only thing is interest-only payments. You would have to make extra payments on top of that. But the whole idea is to get in and get out. Get in and get out with HELOCs. You don't want to keep a HELOC balance for a long time. So private money, hard money, like I said, that's my favorite right there when it comes to investing in property. And there's a lot of private lenders out there. And bridge loans, he's going to talk about that, but just a brief synopsis on bridge loans. Okay, it works similar to a HELOC, but this basically, if you buy an investment property or commercial property, you're just basically bridging a loan, taking a loan from one property to another property. It's like a bridge. Okay, so seller financing and assuming mortgages. We already talked about seller financing, but assuming someone's mortgage is something totally similar. So you go to a seller and they're behind on payments. What I sometimes do, I talk to them and sometimes they just want out. If you're not able to refinance at that moment in time, you just basically assume their mortgage, okay, deed the house over to you or to your entity, and you just pay their mortgage. Pay the back payments, give them a couple of bucks for the deed, okay, and the mortgage is current. As long as you're paying the mortgage, okay, the house is fine. And what you do is, since your deed is in your name, you let the deed season for 2-3 months. Then a conventional bank can get you out of that assumable mortgage. You follow me? So you get in, hold it down, and then you refinance to make it yours. Or HELOC or whatever entity, or whatever loan you're using to make it your house. Okay? So that's assuming someone's mortgage. Okay, group funding. It's kind of like partnering up, starting a investment group. You go and you guys pool money together. You have $100,000, you have $100,000, you have $100,000, you have $100,000. Now we have $500,000. Okay? So with that $500,000, you just turn around and just buy properties, but you don't buy properties with the $500,000. You leverage the $500,000. So with that 5 properties, you figure $50,000 down on each property. So that's 10 properties you guys just acquired, okay? And you leverage yourselves because it's 5 of you guys, okay? That's another method you could use. Just create a group, LLC, 5-member LLC, and roll with it like that. Wholesaling is basically selling someone the contract, assigning the contract to someone else for a fee, okay? So, for example, I go to an auction, all right? I win the auction. You got to front the $5,000 or $10,000 sometimes to participate in the auction, which you get back, or it goes towards your down payment. But half of the people that go to auctions are broke, no money. Or I would say majority of them are broke and they have no intentions on purchasing the property at the auction. When they buy it, they have 30 days. Most of the people at the auction do not close on their auction property if they're experienced. Okay? Because most people you see all these people at the auction, they don't have money. They're all going to hard money guys for the money. If they want to keep the property, it's the hard money guys that's going to finance the property. Okay? Unless they have substantial amount of cash, but it's hard money. So you're at the auction, you see a property, you win, whoop-de-doo or whatever. Then the second guy in line, go to him. Hey, if you give me 20 grand, I'll sign this contract. You just made 20 grand off selling a piece of paper. Imagine going to auction every day or every week and you do that on a weekly basis. How much monthly revenue are you making? That's fast cash. Fast cash. Wholesaling. It's quite simple. It's just the language you put on the contract or whatever. You know, John Doe, et al., and or its assignees. You have to put the language in there to allow you to assign the contract to someone else that's buying the contract. ABC closing. I got a short sale, and the seller is A. I got a short sale. I'm buying it from the seller. Okay? So the seller sells me the property. I short sailed it. And I turn around. I'm B. I find a C buyer. Okay? And at the closing, that C buyer is the final buyer. And I never owned the property. So the A buyer sells it to me for 100 grand. I sign it for 100 grand on the P&S. But then once you sign a P&S, it's called equitable title. You own that property equitably. It's called equitable title. So you have the right to sell that property to someone else. Okay, because you have a contract to sell. Okay, but it's just what language you put in the contract that allows you to do this ABC closing. So you're at the closing table with that A buyer, A seller, B, and then C is the one that actually closes on and gets the deed recorded. No financing or loan required for wholesaling. You don't need financing. You don't need a loan. You just assign the contract. Just flip the paper. You can even do a 5, whatever. You come up with a price. I've seen someone wholesale a property for 100 grand, sold the paper for 100 grand because the property has so much equity, and they bought it so cheap. So the buyer, the second person that lost the auction, gave him 100 grand right there on the spot for the paper. The property was so good. So you can make good money wholesaling. But you got to be careful how it's done, though. It's all language and so on and so forth. Driving for dollars. This is that grunt work stuff. Spend a day, pick a city or town, and just drive. If you see something weird, like a weird house or whatever, pull over. It's called driving for dollars. Pull over, knock on the door, okay? And just say stuff like this. Hey, my name is Hamilton Rodrigues. I'm looking to move into the area. I know the market's been hot in the Brockton area, so I was wondering, when do you plan on moving? You're either going to get the door shut in your face, or they're going to start a conversation, or they're going to yell at you. From there, you know what I mean? You engage in that conversation, build that relationship with the owner. It's called driving for dollars. Just drive around. You see a distressed property. It's distressed for a reason. Just pull over. If they're not there, get the address, go to the assessor's office, get the owner's name information, and send them that handwritten letter. Driving for dollars. All right? Skip tracing resources. So whitepages.com, subscribe to that. It's a couple of bucks a month. That's how you find people, okay? Or People Finder. Those People Finder websites, they're cheap. Subscribe to them because when you find a property, you can kind of do skip tracing and find who the actual owner is and their phone number. Everyone's phone number, cell phone's online. You just have to go to those websites and purchase whitepages.com or whatever, and you'll find this person and you call them on the cell phone. And there's another website. If you guys like doing cold calling, all right? I love cold calling. And this is my favorite website here. It's called the Rodrigues.com. Okay? Good cap it. The Rodrigues.com. This is a cold calling website. It'll give you thousands of leads for days. And it gives you a script. It gives you scripts when you sit down and call. And it'll do multiple, you could do 300 phone calls on this website in a span of an hour. It's called the Storm Dialer. So sign up for the Storm Dialer, okay, and it'll dial these numbers. So you can sit and multitask on your computer, do something else, let this thing dial, and the moment someone answers the call, it'll beep, and you pick up the phone, and you talk. Stop what you're doing and talk. When you're done, hang up, do your regular work, and let the thing, it'll dial until someone picks up. Okay? It'll dial until someone picks up. This is a good website. If you guys can you get the pre-foreclosure list, gives you open houses list. It'll give you geo list. So you put in 02301, it'll give you everyone's phone number that the system has, in Brockton or wherever. You just have to purchase these lists. And go on the website, you see what I'm talking about. And this is a tutorial. It's a very good website to find leads, okay? And I use it all the time. Cold calling is important in this business. Like I said, the iceberg is so big underneath the water, and it's small up the top, okay? In this business, you see someone with a nice fancy Mercedes, nice fancy house, mansion, whatever, but what you don't see is that first in, last out. That's what you guys don't see, the first in, last out individual, okay? You just see this, the fancy lifestyle, okay? But this is all, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You don't roll out of bed and get rich in real estate. All this stuff, you're going to have to bust your ass to do it. Seriously. It's not easy work, but this is how it's done. We're going to talk about flipping houses. Equity position, when you find a house, okay, when you find a deal, I have a 60, people want the 75% rule. I like 65% rule. Why? Because when you buy a house, there's going to be surprises. And 25% equity doesn't work for me, okay? Because my margins get slim when you knock down that wall and there's termites inside, okay? So, because when you're buying these properties, you're buying it as is. Like they say in Creole, lobo na saco. You don't do home inspections. You assume the house is messed up, and you price your budget accordingly. Now, if you go in and the house is not messed up, you get lucky, it's money in your pocket. But you go in your mind that you're doing this property over. Therefore, the home inspection is out the window. And that's how you get the deal. You don't put in an offer, oh, subject to this, subject to clean out. You don't want to piss off the seller in this competitive market. Please, do not do that. The offer is clean, no home inspection, no mortgage contingency. You're buying it cash. That's what you tell them. They don't have to know you're financing the property. You're buying it cash. It's a risk. Like I said in the beginning, you may lose your shirt in this business, okay? But you got to figure it out, how to get the property, okay? And then you put subject to mutually agreeable P&S. Just that language there will get you out of the offer, okay? Because you have to mutually agree on the P&S terms, you and the seller. So you can kind of sort of weasel your way out and get your deposit back that way before you sign the P&S, if you basically change your mind. All this, subject to home inspector, getting Tiger home inspector, this inspector, that is, why spend the freaking money when you already know the property's messed up? You already know. What's the point of a home inspection? It's just going to stop you. It's a roadblock. And you go look at that property. Once you get experience, you can kind of sort of look at what the inspector is going to look at, you know. And heating system, so what if it's shot? You know, you put that in your budget, your rehab budget. The roof, I can care less the roof. How old's the roof? That's the worst question you want to ask a realtor as an investor. How old's the roof? You're going to change it anyway. Who cares how old it is? Okay? The electrical, you know, you're doing all this over regardless of how old it is. Okay? So you have to know how to talk the talk with realtors. You go in there and start doing these first-time home buyer conversations, they're going to know that you're a novice. You got to know the lingo, all right? So that's going to get you out of a PNS, okay, before you sign it if you change your mind. You say, hey, it appears that we're not agreeing to this contract, so, I guess this is the deal breaker, and you walk away and get your deposit back. Plain and simple. All right? And then in the meantime, if you have a contractor, go with your contract to the property and let the contractor inspect the property. He's going to tell you what the bid is anyway, so go with the contractor. And the uglier the house, the more profit you make. We buy ugly houses, You want an ugly house. You want that pink kitchen cabinet. You want those dirty towels. You want the dirty grout on the bathroom. That's what you want. You want the dirty carpet. You want the stinky dog poop in the house. That's the house you want. Okay? That smelly, dirty, grimy house. The one that grandma died and left the young kids in there and they're smoking weed in there all day. That's the house you want. That's the one. Okay? You don't want anything pretty, bells and whistles. You don't want that. You want the shitty house. Okay? And there's lesser competition for those houses. Believe me. Lesser competition, better for you. All right? And then calculating your rehab costs, always work backwards. And work on your ARV, after repair value. So when you see this house, you have to look at the ARV and work backwards. You want your after repair value, okay? You want your ARV, okay? After repair value, okay? So if a house is worth $400,000 and you bought it for $300,000, right? But it needs $100,000 worth of work. Is it a good buy? Yes or no? No. Okay. So you guys follow me, right? So if a house costs $400,000 and you get it for $200,000, but you put $50,000 into it and you sell it for $400,000, is that a good buy? Yes. So you guys follow my idea, right? So the loan to value, LTV, okay, is important. LTV, okay? Loan to value. Always calculate your loan to value and your ARV. And if it's not hitting those numbers, the 65%, 75% is okay. I like 65%. If it's not hitting that 65% loan to value, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because you're gonna have surprises. You knocked on that wall, you're gonna find. Always assume there's termites in the house, even though there's not. Always assume it needs a heating system. Assume it needs this. Assume it needs everything. Assume. Then if it's not, it's money in your pocket, plain and simple. And you do your math as such. You work backwards. So always when someone says, I got a deal, first thing you ask them, what's the ARV? What's the after repair value on this? So calculating margins, we already discussed that. Calculating rehab costs. So flip the house. Like I said, give it back to the same realtor that gave it to you. Give him 7%. Believe me, I'm telling you, give him 7% to sell your house. He'll get you top dollar, and he will make it happen for you the next time around. You're going to be the first one on his list. I'm telling you guys. This is how it works in the business. Okay? And then reinvest all your properties, all your profits into the next deal until you grow. Okay? Keep some for reserves, but reinvest that money into another property. Then when you have a certain level, then you can go buy the Porsche and the Beamer and the Bentley and all other stuff. But when you're accumulating wealth, you want that wealth to pay for that Beamer, the wealth to pay for those things. Okay? Now you have cash flow coming in. Now you can bling bling. So the benefits of buying apartment buildings. It's easier to buy a 5+ unit than it is to buy a 4 or a 3 or a 2 unit. I'll tell you why. A 5 unit, the bank is not going to use your debt to income ratio to purchase a 5 unit. As long as you have the down payment, you can buy a 5+, 20+, 40+. It's easier than buying a triplex or a duplex or a 4-plex. Way easier. Because they're not going after your credit or your income. They can care less. They want the debt service of the property. They want to know how much is the property producing. And the property is going to be appraised based on such. It's called the gross rent multiplier. That's what they use to value commercial property. I love to buy 5+s because lesser headache, lesser problems, okay? And it's more cash flow as well, all right? We have this notion, let me buy a 3-family, 4-family, but it's your personal credit that's involved with this. And when you buy a 5+, the mortgage doesn't show up on your credit report. So you can have a $1 million loan, it will not show up on your credit report because it's showing up on your business credit report. You're the guarantor, but it's showing up in your business credit report. So if you want to buy something personally now, your debt-to-income ratio is not being touched. So they don't have to know you have a 5-plex or whatever. It's your personal now. You can buy a single-family house. You buy this, buy that. You don't have to mention the 5-plex and the 20-plexes because it's under an entity that has its own credit. Okay? So think about buying, if you're buying multi, get into 5+s. You'll thank me later. Basically, you're doing it for cash flow. When you buy a single family, you lose a tenant, you lose 100% of rents. You got to come out the pocket till you find out a tenant, spend $5-6 grand to turn the property, fix it up, put the next tenant in there. That tenant doesn't pay you for 6 months. You got to kick them out. Single family houses are not good ideas to rent for cash flow, unless you have a good tenant in there that's going to take care of the place and pay you. So when you have a 5-unit, you have 2 vacancies, you're still floating. You have 3 vacancies, you're still floating. So when you have a 5+, all right, you have lesser maintenance costs. Believe me when I tell you this, lesser maintenance costs. Good to have 1 heating system in a 5+ or more. 1 heating system. I'll tell you why. You don't want to have 10 heating systems on a 10-unit house because those things break down quickly. You're fixing and you're changing 10 heating systems. All right, and that's costly. You have 1 heating system, so you basically budget your gas bill or your oil bill for the whole house. You budget it throughout the years, all calculations. So if you know every month that gas bill is going to be $500 on that 1 heating system, you divide it amongst the units, okay, but you have that budget set in your cash flow. It's going to be part of your cash flow. And then that thing breaks down, you call Mr. Plumber, it's that 1 heating system, and the tenants are happy after 3 hours. Okay, and now you have 3 heating systems, you got pissed off tenants telling you, oh, I have no heat, I have no heat, I have no heat. You're going crazy. Just 1 heating system. You have multiple electric meters, that's fine, but 1 heating system for the 5+. I love it like that. That's just my personal opinion. The larger the building, the larger you can do other things. Coin up laundry, vending machines, and so on and so forth. And you could rent parking spaces, okay? Right here, I have a lot of folks that, there's neighbors in the wintertime, they want to rent parking spaces from me. You can get up to $300 a month for parking spaces, okay? Take opportunity of that if you have a big unit, so you can rent it to the tenants. You say there's no parking available. If I'm parking, it's another $200, $300, increasing your net operating income. So rental properties outperform stocks, okay, in the last 20 years. If you really look at the trends, you follow stocks and real estate will outperform stocks. Stocks will go like this, down, like this, but real estate is a steady incline. The last 20 years may have had a dip, but it's, the last crash, now it's higher than prior to the last crash. So it's going to outperform stocks. So your money in the bank, you're losing money in the bank. I use the bank as a parking lot. The bank for me is a parking lot. I don't get into all this CD account stuff, and I don't get into all this investment annuities. I hate annuities. I'll tell you that right now. I hate annuities. That's the worst place you want to put your money. Too many fees. You can't. It's not liquid. Okay, and then when you pull it out, they whack you. They whack you hard. Believe me. The fastest vehicle to wealth, I don't care what anyone says, the fastest vehicle to wealth is real estate investing. That's the fastest vehicle. Exactly. And your money's there. It's tangible. At any time, you sell it and get your money back. Or if you can't sell it, you leverage it. Your money's in the bank. It's not even, okay, the bank gives you 3%, for example, right? Tax time comes, they send you the 1099. That 3% becomes 0.5% after you pay Uncle Sam the interest. So what was the point of all that? The bank is doing what I'm trying to tell you what to do. The bank is doing exactly this. They take their money, they invest it in REITs, they invest it in this, invest it in that, on your money, and they lend it to other people. Why not take your money and do the same thing the banks are doing? The banks are in business to use your money to make their money. People have this notion that banks are a place to save money. No, it's not. A bank is a business. They make money, they bank on you having negative transactions. They rather you have negative transactions because they charge you fees. Appreciation example, let's say each unit rents for $1,500 a month. Is it visible for this same unit to rent for $2,000 per month in 10 years? Just a $50 per year increase in rent, okay? And then let's look at how this $500 per month increase of rent will affect the apartment appreciation. Because, like I said before, the way you value commercial property is based on rental income. So when you get a property, you want to make improvements to raise the rent and always keep up with the inflation. So always raise your rent per year. Start at market value and always give the $50 increase per year. Always do that, because if you don't, you shoot yourself in the foot 5 years later. And then you're going to give the tenant a payment shock. You're going to be like, oh, I'm raising my rent from $1,500 to $2,000. Then you have a pissed off tenant. If you raise the rent $50 a year, okay, because it's already at market value, every year you raise it $50, after 5-10 years, you don't have a screaming and shouting tenant. They're not feeling it. They're going with the times. They understand it's going with the times. This is how the future value will be figured. So 48 units, okay, times 500 rent increase, times 12 months, multiplied by 95 occupied, okay, equals your net operating income of $273,000 per year. You just increase your value to 3,420, net operating income of 8% cap rate. We're going to talk about cap rate in a second. Okay, cap rate is the return on your investment, the percentage return on your investment. So your NOI, net operating income, is calculated like this, okay? Rental income, other income, minus vacancy loss, minus operating expenses equals your NOI, net operating income. This is how you basically calculate your income and expenses, what gives you your profit at the end, your income. So cap rate. So this is the formula for the cap rate, okay? You got your gross income minus expenses equals your net income, okay? Divide the net income by the purchase price you paid for it, okay? Move the 2 decimal spaces to the right to arrive at the percentage. This is your cap rate. A good cap rate is about 6 to 8%, okay? If you're at 9%, 10%, you're okay, all right? That's a good cap rate. What is a cap rate? The capitalization rate, also known as cap rate, is used in the world of commercial real estate to indicate the rate of return that is expected to be generated on a real estate investment property. It is used to estimate the investor's potential return on their investment in the real estate market. Apartments, 3 ways to invest in apartments is you could do it yourself. You can invest in REITs, which is real estate investment trusts. The banks do that a lot. So REITs are basically, it's like syndication. So they raise money to invest in real estate projects. So you're kind of like buying stocks in a real estate project. That's what REITs are, okay? Or you could do partnerships like we discussed earlier. Manage properties, rehab properties, provide reports to the bank, take the phone calls from existing prospective tenants when you do it yourself, and fix the property. This is what happens when you do it yourself. And on a commercial loan, you got to report your financial profile to the bank on a yearly basis. That's the only thing. REITs, it's like buying stocks into investment trusts. In closing, whether you invest in syndication or on your own, make a decision to start and invest in real estate cash flow producing properties will continue to be a great investment over time, as nothing can stop it. There is no technology that can possibly disrupt the fact that people will need affordable places to live. Your money is dying in the bank, depreciating at a faster rate than what the banks pay you. Now, bring us the deals. All right? Here's the thing. Remember when I told you guys, if you find a deal, and if it's a deal, you don't have the money, don't walk away from it. Find someone that will help you purchase the property if it's a deal. That person will jump in with you as a partner or even give you the gap funding for that deal, okay? Or come to me or Arthur, one of these guys, okay, or David. If you have a deal, or I can help you wholesale it, okay? Or someone here, after you learn this, you could do it yourself with other people, okay? Don't walk away from deals because you don't have the money. The money is there somewhere in the United States. All right, we're going to have 5 minutes for questions and answers, and we're going to jump into lunch, and then we're going to start with credit specialist Arthur, okay? Any question? He had a question.
How you calculate the 65 to 75% on the
So the 75% loan to value. So let's say the house is $100,000, correct? This is the value of the house, right? So you do 0.75% of this value. So 0.75, okay, that's 75%. So it's basically going to be $75,000 LTV. So the bank will lend you $75,000 on a $100,000 purchase price. You follow me? So if you buy a house for $100,000, you got to come up with $25,000 to complete the transaction. So that's a loan, because the loan to value, LTV, is 75% of the 100%. Now, if it's 65%, it's 65,000 instead of 75,000. Any questions?
How do you know it's a deal? How do you know it's a deal?
Who?
How do you know if it's a good deal, like you said, don't walk away from the deal?
So you got to find out what the ARV is after repair value, and you work backwards. And you have to see how much you're buying the house for. So for example, like I said before, if the house is worth $400,000 and the sale is $300,000, you got to put $100,000 into it. It's not a good deal. You don't buy a house assuming that it's going to appreciate next year in real estate investing. The house, you have to make money at closing. The moment you close on that property, the property has to have equity immediately at closing. So if it's worth $400,000, okay, you want to buy it at 150 or 200 maybe, possibly, and spend 50 grand. Even if you spend 100 grand, you got 300, you have that cushion, you have margin, and you sell it for 400. So you got to work backwards. So you got to know how much the house is worth today. And if today is not worth that money, you don't say, okay, this house next year is going to grow because the town is growing, the trending. You don't go for all that stuff. Because real estate is very volatile sometimes in certain towns. So you can't play Russian roulette with your deals. Okay? Okay, no problem. Next question.
So if I'm interested in buying a 5+, which I really am interested in, I pitched that idea to my immediate family. Got shut down real quick. How do I do a group funding with people that I don't know?
Well, there's investment groups out there. There's people like us, okay, that can point you in the right direction. You go to a hard money lender, private lender will help you out, okay? And then you can do gap funding. So gap funders, Google gap funders to get the down payment.
Your real estate classes, do you still teach them?
Yeah. I do it online now, so yeah. So I'll give you the website link for the class. Any other questions? Amanda?
So how do you find the ARV after you or before you close on the property?
There's different ways. Your realtor can do a CMA, okay, but if you just want to do a quick search, just go to public records. Sometimes I don't recommend you do this, but just if you're on the fly, go to those websites, how to calculate ARV, or even like Zillow. Sometimes it's BS on Zillow, but sometimes it'll give you a gauge and compare with the other sites. You know what I mean? But best bet is your realtor will give you a CMA. You get one. Listen. Don't go it alone. I'm trying to tell you, you're trying to save that 2 pennies. Listen, you're trying to save that 2 pennies. It's going to cost you more in the long run. I'm telling you. In this business, everyone's got to eat. When everyone's fed, you yourself is going to be successful in this business. The moment you start squeezing penny in your circle's pissed off because you gave them 0.5% because you didn't want to give them that 1%. You're messing up the synergy in the group. You're messing up that synergy. Everyone's eating. You're eating. Just because you lost $7,000, but you just made $200,000. You're focusing on the wrong thing. You follow me? Don't focus on the wrong thing. Focus on how much you're making, not how much your realtor's making, or how much the mortgage guy's making. Focus on how much you're making.
You're not going to save money in the beginning of anything. You save money at the end by bringing it in on time. It would be good. You never save. So, for instance, if I'm flipping a house, I'm spending all the money up front. I'm not saving the money. I save the money where at the end when I sell it and bring it in for 4 to 6 months or the 3 months that I have my projected finish date. That's where you save and make the money. You never save money in the beginning of anything. Just keep that in mind. Spend as much as you can in the beginning to make sure you bring it home at the end. That's all you got to do.
I don't know. The website for T7, for my course, T7RE.com. Just call me and I'll send you the link. T7, huh? Not on me. I'm sorry, I didn't bring it, so don't shoot me. T7RE.com. Yeah, .com. T7RE.com. 339. Good idea, right? My mind is floating. 339 502 0034. Okay? My name is Hamilton. Yeah. T7RE.com. My handwriting is not well, so. Huh? Say that again? Yeah, yeah, it's on that letter. So I hope this was informative. I hope you guys learned something. There's more to come. We're going to be doing this every couple of months with different topics. This is one topic. We're going to have another topic in a couple of months. So I hope I was very informative to you guys. I hope you guys learned a thing or two here. And I hope you guys can put this in practice. Because you could learn all the stuff today, you walk out of here and forget about it. Okay? And just don't do it. I just hope that you guys can actually put this into practice. And then please feel free to call me if you have any questions. If you guys get stuck in the road with a property or whatever, or if you have a property, you have the money to buy it, just call me and I'll answer the question. I don't care if you're working with another realtor or whatever. That's your prerogative. If you just need a question answered, I'm here to answer any questions. Okay?
I just want to say thank you for putting this together. I'm an ambitious person, so I'm always looking for opportunities to add on to my purpose on this earth before we expire. So I've been watching a lot of things more in the Miami area where you have people like yourself, Arthur, who puts things like this together to mentor younger people, to mentor people that are less educated on real estate and become a really successful realtor, especially if you're strong. You're a strong-minded person and you don't give in, you don't give up. Getting the education like this and take it forward, I can definitely see myself in this. With the mentorship of, going out there helping people. I think this is an amazing thing. I would love to come to that next advanced class where I can learn more how to become the best realtor ever. So working with mentorship, under mentorships like this, because I've seen it work in Miami where people that have the money got their own entity and they hire or they partner up with other realtors that were less educated and really mentor them to be one of the best. And they make over $1 million sometimes in income. It's crazy the amount of money that's in real estate. So I've been watching that for a while. So when I saw this class, I said, I'm in. So I'm looking forward to the next step.
I appreciate it. But always remember the iceberg. In this business, it's that iceberg. Always remember that iceberg. The long iceberg underneath the water. That's where you're at right now. Okay? That small piece up top is the end result. Believe me, that's the end result. So I hope you guys can get out there and tackle this. It's grunt work. I'm telling you, it's not as easy as it seems. But if you follow these steps, are you guys going to get the video of the email so you guys can reference back again? But I hope you guys go out there and make it happen, okay? Because the more people involved, especially people that come from backgrounds that I come from, the more of us get into that 3% is good, okay? We could party hard. Yes, exactly. So we can either be mediocre in life, which is fine. I mean, work that job or whatever, nothing, no pun intended. Or you can try to do great things in life. You know, failing is not a bad thing. At least you tried and you know that it doesn't work. Okay? Don't let anyone tell you, oh, be careful so you don't fail. Be careful so you don't lose money. You're going to lose money in certain businesses. It's the cost of doing business. But if you don't try it, okay, you don't take the risk, you just don't know. You're just going to be a regular person, live to 65, collect that pension, and retire, go to some exotic island with some 23-year-old maid, and die at 72. I mean, I guess the maid is fine, but, you know, that's not the life I personally want to live. You know what I mean? I want to go to that island now. Exactly. Follow me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you have to worry about that iceberg. That iceberg is going to get you to that island. You follow me? So if there's no other questions, I thank you guys. And hopefully you guys learned something. It was informative. And we're going to have lunch, and then we're going to start with the superstar credit repair guy, Arthur. All right, so thank you very much.